So, hey, Denise, what's up?
Hey Terry, good to see you. You look gorgeous.
Ah, good to see you too. Hey, um, I just wanted to share something with you, and I thought maybe we can record this and kind of chat about it and share it in my sister's living room. And that is, I've sat down and I've done all of the analysis, I've done all the preparation, I've done all my research, and now I'm ready to step out on faith.
Oh,
What? What do you think about that?
oh man, have we not been around this mountain a few times? I mean, come on. We have, Terry. We have been well, most of the time we've been obedient and stepping out in faith. And so when I hear you say that, I'm like, yeah, here we go. Here we go again. Stepping out in faith about something. So I'm like, let's go for it.
Let's go. But I say it that way because it's so funny that so many people you talk to are like, okay, I crunched the numbers.
I
I
did
can
this.
figure out how I can make this work. I
Right.
have the contingency plan. I have step one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Hey,
Right.
like
That's
you and I always say, there's nothing wrong with being planned and prepared. But
right.
when God tells us to move out in faith to
Yeah.
do something, we don't always see that gangplank,
Yeah.
that you have to walk that's going to hold you up.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, you and I are very strategic. I mean, I know both of us, we have this business mind. We're very strategic. We like to plan, we like to have things. And when we feel like God is saying, step out, it can be very scary. But at the same time, it's like we know we are supposed to go. And a lot of times those plans kind of trip us up because the business world would say for us to have these kind of plans. And we're going, yeah, but I think I'm supposed to. Um, can I give you a good example?
Oh, yeah.
So I wrote kind of a fictional, this was back in early 2000, wrote a fictional story around Jesus's time. And I was so proud of that story, man. And I sent it to an editor, and that editor said, you might need to put this one down. And I was like, why? I mean, it's great. And she's like, yeah, no, you need to put this down. And I said, "Well, I have this book. I want to share a story around racial relations, racial issues." And she's like, "That one you need to pick up." Now, I wasn't prepared to do that. I had no way of knowing how to do that or what I should do, but it was a step of faith. And I know you were along that journey with me the whole time. So, but yeah, I think you're right about that.
That's great because that is true. Best laid plans of man. And then God says, tapping on the shoulder, this is really what I want you to do. Oh, but God, how's that going to work? I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's like, yeah, you have to do it that way so that I can get glorified.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That if we listen, if we hear, and we take that next step, that he's going to get the glory because nothing in Denise, could ever produce something. Nothing in Terry could produce, but it's walking with him that has taught me over these years how important it is to hear that, be obedient. What did we used to say? I think you or Sheila would say delayed obedience is disobedience. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's not
agree with
obedience
that.
at all. And walking by faith, like a lot of times, like we'll have something. I'm going to go out there. I'm just going to do. We don't plan, but we say I'm just going to go out there and do it. But we hadn't heard God say go out there and do it, and then it
Exactly.
falls, and you're like, well, I walked out on faith. The
Mm,
key that you said was developing that relationship and walking closely with God, so we hear what He says,
yeah.
and that's the step of faith.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think is the difference? Because you do hear a lot of people say,
Mhm.
I walked out in faith and it failed. And so, when I hear you say about that key difference, what is the key difference for you that you've seen where you knew you were supposed to do? You heard something from God and you took that step, even though it looked crazy. What were things times for you that you did that?
Well, I think the key thing for me is the focus on the relationship and not the focus on I have a plan that I want to have
Gotcha.
executed. I have something that I want to have done at the end. And
Mhm.
it's more of just developing that closeness. And then typically the ideas that make no sense of where did they come from,
Yeah.
that wasn't something I thought about, and gets
Uh-huh.
deposited in your spirit. And then in praying it back to God, you're like, gosh, this is what I'm hearing. God, is this what you're saying? Yes,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. And
Mhm.
then it's like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it because you said so. And you always quote Henry Blackaby, and I love
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And that is,
That is, don't let the uncertainty of the second step keep you from taking the first step. I love that.
I do too.
Yeah, that has been so key because again, we're planners and strategic planners and we think about I need step 1, step 2, step 3, steps 4, step 5 and Laura's like, "Here's your next step. You just take that and I'll make the next step known." And
Yes,
so I think that's that quote, don't let the uncertainty of the second step keep you from taking the first step. It's awesome.
absolutely. Because we always want to say, I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Mhm.
I think of the movie Indiana Jones,
Mhm.
and I think it's the one, The Last Crusade. Is it that one where it's like they have to go in there and they're going for the Holy Grail, and it's like to go walk across that
Yes.
chasm. It's like they have to have that faith and then step out, and then that's when the little walkway appears,
Uh-huh.
and that's scary. Walking out on faith is scary, but it's also exhilarating when you know that God is telling you to do it,
Yeah.
um, and then you go forward with it.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. I love that part of that movie because that is exactly how walking out in faith is. And then I don't know if you do this, but I always think, okay, I know the next step, and then I have the outcome in mind.
Right.
Outcome should look like, and it's like it might not look like that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother step of faith. That outcome might not be what I think it should be.
Yes, we have to divorce ourselves from the results. We have to divorce ourselves from the outcome. And we have to also be comfortable with the fact that we may never know why
Hmm.
we're doing something. It's
Oh,
never about what you think it's about.
so true.
And it could be about witnessing to someone, it could be about having an encounter with somebody else. We may never know.
Right.
But we have to, again, be in faith and say, well, God said to do it, so I got to do it. There's
Yeah.
nothing, I mean, I can't ask him why. I mean,
Yeah.
I can, but he may not choose to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really great point, and I feel like that those words divorce ourselves from that outcome, I think are exactly it. It's just again trusting. It may look different, but it's okay because I don't know about you, but I find peace when I know I've taken that step and I've done what God says and whatever that outcome is, it is. So it's a good place to be. I think it brings us joy.
It does. And
Yeah.
that is so hard to explain. You cannot translate that to someone.
Mhm.
And that brings me to another point, and that is a lot of times when we're taking these steps of faith, we have to be very, I don't know, we have to be diligent in watching like who we talk to about it,
Yeah.
because God may tell us who we need to tell it to for a certain purpose. And but we also don't necessarily have to go out and shout it from the rooftops. It's not because we're afraid we're going to fail or whatever, but people will be distractions. They
Yeah.
tell you that is crazy. But
Yeah.
sometimes you need to tell them that you want them to know, yeah, I know it's crazy, but God said do it, and I'm going to do it. And then they can see the glory. But
Yeah.
sometimes they can be detractors.
That's so true. And I think that's all part of the process. It's like, who do I bring alongside that can pray, that can just know about this? And they may think it's crazy, but they may also know enough about our relationship with the Lord to say, okay, I'm going to be here, praying for you through this journey. So I think that's a really great point. Listening to God on who do I share? How do I share? When do I share? Do I share? So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you that you're always someone who shares with me. You're always, I
Yes.
tease you, you're my Joshua.
Yeah.
Denise, can you please go out there and scout the land? Come back and give me the good report, and then I'll go. I'm just teasing.
I'm happy to do that. But I'm not sure I'm always the one that does that. I'm kind of like, I ain't going out there.
Exactly. You go first.
That's
But
right.
I think that's great. But yeah, it is important to have other people that will encourage you to say, no, God said it. You're going to do it. I'm
Mm,
here for you. Let's go.
yeah,
So,
it's good. It's all good. I think that's
sounds
awesome.
good. All right, girl. Thanks for chatting.
Hey, I love to chat with you.
You too.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
All right. See you
Bye.
later.